World of Darkness.
Life's tough
When you're in PC,
Life's rough
when you depend on me
to give you
weapons,
items,
armor,
hardware, information for your journey, and still you just want shit and try to hurt me. Life's tough
When you're in PC,
Life's rough
when you depend on me.
Holy hell, I love World of Darkness. White Wolf Publishing may be my favorite gaming line, and that includes Wizards of the Coast. It is so unique, and has so many different games to choose from. You see, unlike Dungeons & Dragons, and by extension the majority of gaming companies that put out more than one gaming book, gaming companies tend to follow the Wizards' lead when it comes to actual books and how you build them and build around them. They have their primary game, and they stick to that game. They create books, additional books, splat books, modules, mythos builders around this one main concept. Sure, gaming companies like Wizards of the Coast will occasionally release something else, D20 Modern, Call of Cthulhu, Star Wars, so on and so forth, but their breadwinner and flagship is always going to be D&D. These other games may be their side play, but we all know where Wizards of the Coast is going back to every night. White Wolf Publishing, Onyx Path, and the cornucopia of future companies that actually took care of World of Darkness took a very different path in a different direction. They instead focused on building a modern-day world that was filled to the brim with supernatural creatures such as vampires, werewolves, mages, ghosts, hunters, and so forth. Split between classic World of Darkness and New World of Darkness, there are now 21 distinct games in the World of Darkness series. Sure, you could certainly say that Vampire the Masquerade and Vampire the Requiem are White Wolf's flagship games, and they even say so themselves. But here's the thing, unlike other games, if you don't like Vampire, you could play any of their other games and have a great time and find thousands of people who are willing to play with you. You could play Werewolf, you could play Mage, Hunter, all of which have these big, expansive fan bases. When it comes to Wizards of the Coast, you have D&D. That's really about it. You might try some of their other stuff, but it doesn't compare with World of Darkness' expansive universe and its different games. However, here's the problem. Whenever you have 21 distinct games in your gaming franchise, you're bound to get a couple of stinkers. I should stress that the games released by World of Darkness are not garbage. Even the worst among them have some merit to them, they just aren't as cool as the other ones. While I may never find a group who are willing to play Demon the Fallen due to its poorly planned system and mythos, I can still admire a lot of what the game has to offer and enjoy the mythos that it creates. I can even insert Demon into other games. Also, since all of them are based on the classic World of Darkness and New World of Darkness game mechanics, I know at least that the system won't be hopelessly broken. As a matter of fact, I find those two systems to be some of the best systems out there. But tragically, it is the case that for every Vampire the Masquerade that White Wolf churned out, you always had one Kindred of the East waiting in the wings. So today, we're going to be looking at one of the 21 games from World of Darkness, and that is their most recent game that they've published, called Beast the Primordial. Beast the Primordial is definitely the recent game from the Chronicles of Darkness line, and you can certainly tell. You take on the role of beasts that are a manifestation of the nightmares of humans. You know, I really love this concept, just for the fact that it really shows that these people have completely ran out of ideas. You know, I can see it right now that the people talk at the boardroom meetings, like, well, we have vampires, we have werewolves, we have fey creatures, we have mages, we have demons, we have ghosts. What don't we have? Well, we did do a game where we focused on people's dreams and whatnot. What if they become the dreams themselves? We really got nothing, do we? No, we don't. Fuck it, start the Kickstarter. Yeah, the premise itself is a little thin, but things like that can be forgiven as long as the mythos is good. I mean, personally speaking, I didn't think Changeling the Dreamer would be much of anything, but lo and behold, society has definitely proved me wrong on that one. But, tragically, this is not the case for Beast the Primordial. This game fails at both a mythos level as well as a storytelling level, and the entire premise is geared towards this single lone wolf mentality. Which, by the by, the biggest way that you can make your role-playing game suck is to make characters that are tailor-made, that they will do everything by themselves unless they are forced to. You see, as a beast, you have a certain mission in life. In order to become a beast, your old soul must be devoured by an old beast to become a beast yourself. After that, you learn, as a beast, your job is to terrify and scare people in nightmares. This not only feeds your hunger to scare people, but also to impart wisdom on your prey in order that they can see some sort of big picture that they're missing before, that they need these dreams in order to actually see. Have you spotted the problem yet? I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't. I mean, the ship pile is the actual size of Jeff Goldblum.
That is one big pile of shit.
I have two major problems with this game. Number one in the premise, and number two in the gameplay. First and foremost, I'm going to offer a bit of free advice to developers. Whenever you are creating a game, you need to make sure that these people are going to want to, and it is in their best advantage to, stay as a group. If you create a game that is dominated by lone wolf style characters, then your game is going to suck. Beast the Primordial is a great example of this. As Beast, your reason for being is to haunt people's dreams to impart wisdom through terrifying them, which is a single-minded type of action. It is similar to a Decker from Shadowrun that would hack into the mainframe by physically going into the Matrix, and then you would spend 30 minutes to an hour doing the Decker's mission while everybody else just sits around. It's entirely built on a single person's premise. An entire 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour can go into these different sessions. I mean, and sure, you could certainly do as the storyteller to say, yeah, you go, you haunt some people, you get your points, you impart some wisdom, let's move on. Which would be okay if it weren't a major part of the damn game. Yes, vampires hunt for people in Vampire the Masquerade and Vampire the Requiem. However, the main crux of the game is not hunting humans. It is about existing in a world filled with politics and intrigue. It is about hunting down artifacts, climbing up the social ladder of vampirism. It is about intrigue, deception, cohesion, politics, and being a monster who hunts in the night. The drinking blood is only a small part of a more larger working machine. For Beast the Primordial, this is the big cog in the machine. If you just write that your character feeds as a vampire, you aren't missing much except for some fun role-playing time in order to get to the plot. If you do the same thing in Beast the Primordial, you skip major points in the game. Once again, like in Vampire, this is the equivalent if you were playing a Vampire the Masquerade game where you completely skip all the politicking and intrigue with the Camarilla, Sabbat, and Anarchs just so you can spend 2 hours finding a prostitute to feed on. Who the fuck would want to do that? Now that isn't to say that this game does not offer alternative things for you to do to create group camaraderie. Unlike Demon the Fallen, where the best reason that you can think of to spend time together is for short-term gains, beasts are encouraged to be in families and also to protect themselves from quote-unquote heroes. Heroes in this game are the bad guys. Because, in the past, people would get scared by these dreams, which would possess a hero to go hunt and stop these noble deeds of torture. So now, heroes search out and find beasts to kill them before they can impart their quote-unquote wisdom. I do get what they were going for here. It's the classic heroes become villains, villains become heroes sort of thing. I understand that. It's very similar to the Shrek method of doing things. I mean, say what you will about Shrek, it did bring up the idea of a villain becoming a hero, similar to a beast becoming the hero while the hero is actually the villain. I just wish that Beast the Primordial had a little bit more tact than DreamWorks. Here's the thing. I would kind of like this premise, the fact that the heroes are the bad guys who are well-meaning but actually doing harm to the world if it weren't for the Beast's motto. Beasts have this stalwart belief that what they are doing to humanity is for their own good. It even says in the book that beasts hold true to these principles, that scaring and torturing people in dreams is a means to impart important wisdom onto people. So in other words, It is okay that we are torturing you in these dreams and causing all of these problems and panics because it's for your own good.
That is one big pile of shit.
I couldn't have said it best, Ian Malcolm, but I can certainly show it. Fuck you! I'm sorry for anyone who likes this game, or if it was one of the people who gave money to this game, but fuck this premise in the goddamn ear! It screams of a person who abuses their children, their spouse, their friends, or strangers for the sake of helping them. So yeah, it is okay that I'm torturing you because it's for your own good. It's okay that I'm sexually assaulting you because it'll teach you a valuable lesson about trusting people. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on, too! And for those of you saying, oh Tanner, this is World of Darkness, it's supposed to be dark, it's supposed to be gritty, it's supposed to be disgusting, there's supposed to be some skeevy things going on. Well, allow me to retort. Here's the problem that I have when it comes to the Beast premise, is that the way that it's framed. It is cool that you want to make a game where the beasts roam around in people's minds, torturing with horrific nightmares to feed. There is a lot of story there as well. Just imagine if you were a good and caring person who is forced to prey upon the minds of the innocent just to be able to live. It is the same way with Vampire the Masquerade. You have to feed on the blood of the living as a predator in order to survive while you clutch onto the last vestiges of your humanity. It's a really good story. See, there's a lot of good stuff present that is not in this fucking game. Beast isn't like Vampire because of how the whole thing is framed. You aren't some soul trying to hold on to their humanity as they torture people in a dream, slowly slipping into a state of depression and alcoholism as you continue to torture people. No, this is an empowering tool for beasts. They willingly accept this life and consider it a noble life. They revel in the idea of torturing people, which, once again, is fine. Just look at the fucking La Sombra. But where it gets wrong is when you bring in the wisdom narrative. It is the idea that you are torturing and causing pain and anguish for someone's own good. This is a terrible premise. Honestly, this is the biggest problem with Beast the Primordial, that drags down a really good concept with a terrible idea of how this entire thing is framed. This game certainly wouldn't have been a runaway masterpiece like Changeling the Lost, but there was certainly stuff in there that could merit a decent game, that could create a relatively sizable fan base. The system itself, of course, is great, just like all versions of New World of Darkness. It is streamlined, solely using D10s, and is honestly one of the best RPG systems that I have ever seen, that guarantees that new players can come in and pick it up relatively quickly, getting people invested into this thing and getting the character out and playing. But the mythos and the fact that this is clearly a solo, lone wolf type of creature who has been forced into social interaction, combined with this disgusting narrative of torture for your own good, just drags the whole experience down. So, as far as whether or not this goes into the crit or miss column, it's pretty simple. This one is definitely a miss. You see, the premise and the concept are just too bad to actually merit it to go into the obscure but fun category. And as such, it's definitely a failure. So, that's 2 in the miss column, 0 in the crit column. Maybe next time I'll actually get a good game for once, or the misses are just going to keep piling up. Either way, please, I ask you to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Also, check out our websites, tannerreviews.com, projectderailed.com. Check out our SoundCloud, where the nerdiest talk show on Earth is held. Also, please check out our music group, 2D6. Really good stuff. You can find them on YouTube. So, with that being said, I will leave you with the great and wise words of Jeff Goldblum.